Hey everyone, welcome back to Narrative English. If you enjoy improving your English through powerful stories that also teach life lessons, you're in the right place. Because stories help language feel natural. We imagine the scenes. We understand emotions. And we learn how people speak in real life. Today's story is about a boy who was never considered special. He was not the smartest student. He was not the strongest athlete. He was not the most confident person in the room. But he had one quality that many people underestimate. He refused to quit. And that one decision slowly changed everything. There was once a boy who kept failing. Not once. Not twice. But again. And again. And again. He failed in school tests. He lost every race he joined. Even simple things seemed harder for him than for everyone else. People slowly stopped believing in him. Some classmates laughed. Some teachers quietly expected nothing from him. And one day someone told him something painful. You try too hard, but maybe success just isn't meant for you. For many people, that sentence would end the story. But for this boy, that sentence became the beginning. Because he decided to do something very unusual. He decided to never stop showing up. By the end of the story, you will understand why consistency quietly defeats talent, why small daily effort builds extraordinary results, and how a single habit repeated over time can completely change the direction of someone's life. In a small quiet town lived a boy named Aarav. Aarav was the kind of student teachers rarely noticed. Not because he caused trouble, but because he rarely stood out. In class, other students answered questions quickly. But Aarav, he often needed more time. Math confused him. Science sometimes felt overwhelming. Even reading took him longer than others. When exams arrived, the results were always similar. Some students celebrated high scores. Aarav simply hoped he had passed. Sometimes he did. Sometimes he didn't. At first he felt embarrassed. But what hurt him more was something else. People began forming quiet opinions about him. He's not very bright. He works hard but never improves. He's just average. These sentences were never shouted loudly. They were whispered quietly. But Aarav heard them. And every time he heard them, something inside him felt heavy. One afternoon Aarav walked home from school slowly. He carried his bag over his shoulder. The sky looked gray. His thoughts felt even heavier. For the first time he asked himself a serious question. Maybe they are right. Maybe he was simply not talented. Maybe some people were just meant to struggle. But that evening something small happened. His grandfather was sitting outside the house, watching the sunset. Aarav sat beside him quietly. His grandfather noticed his silence. What happened today? Aarav hesitated, then spoke honestly. I try hard, but I'm never good enough. His grandfather listened patiently. Then he said something simple. Do you know how rivers cut through mountains? Aarav shook his head. His grandfather smiled. They don't do it with strength. They do it with persistence. That sentence stayed in Aarav's mind long after the conversation ended. The next morning, Aarav woke up earlier than usual. Not because he felt motivated, but because he wanted to try something different. Instead of waiting for improvement to happen suddenly, he would improve a little every day. That morning he studied for 20 minutes before school. Just 20 minutes. Nothing dramatic. But the next day he did the same thing. And the day after that. At first nothing seemed different. His progress was slow, painfully slow. But something inside him began changing. He stopped worrying about being the best. He started focusing on simply being better than yesterday. Around this time, the school announced its annual sports competition. Many students were excited. Aarav hesitated. Sports had never been his strength. Still, something inside him whispered the same idea. Just try. He signed up for the running race. The other participants looked strong and confident. One runner named Rohan had already won the race for 2 years. Everyone expected him to win again. During practice, the difference was obvious. Rohan ran like the wind. Aarav struggled to keep up. Some students laughed quietly. One teacher even suggested something kindly. "You don't have to run if you don't want to." Aarav smiled politely. "I want to try." Every morning before school, Aarav began running. The first day he ran for 5 minutes. The second day he ran for 6. Then 7. Then 10. His legs hurt. His breathing felt heavy, but every morning he returned. Even when the weather was cold. Even when he felt tired. Even when nobody was watching. Consistency is rarely exciting, but it is powerful. Slowly his body began adapting. His stamina improved. His confidence grew quietly. Months passed. The next school exam arrived. Aarav felt nervous but prepared. When the results were announced, something surprising happened. He did not become the top student. But his score had improved significantly. One teacher looked at his paper and said something simple. "Well done. I can see your effort." Those few words felt like sunlight after a long winter. Because they proved something important. Improvement was happening. Slowly, but surely. Finally, the sports competition arrived. The entire school gathered near the running field. Students cheered loudly. The runners took their positions. Rohan stood confidently at the front. Aarav stood quietly beside the others. The whistle blew. The runners sprinted forward. As expected, Rohan quickly took the lead. Aarav stayed behind the front group. But something was different. He did not panic. He kept a steady pace. Halfway through the race, several runners began slowing down. Aarav continued at the same speed. Near the final stretch, something surprising happened. He passed 2 runners. Then, another. When he crossed the finish line, the crowd reacted with surprise. Aarav finished 3rd. For the first time in his life, he stood on the winner's platform. After that day, something changed. Not just in how others saw Aarav, but in how he saw himself. He stopped thinking of himself as the boy who struggled. Instead, he saw himself as someone who improves every day. His study habits continued. His running continued. His confidence grew quietly. Consistency had done something powerful. It had changed his identity. Years passed. Aarav continued applying the same rule in everything he did. When learning English felt difficult, he practiced daily. When work felt challenging, he kept showing up. When opportunities appeared, he was prepared. Because he had built something stronger than motivation. Discipline. Eventually, the same boy who once struggled in school became someone others respected. People asked him how he became successful. They expected some secret formula. But his answer was always simple. "I just didn't stop." Many people believe success comes from talent. But talent often fades without effort. Consistency is different. Consistency compounds. Just like saving a small amount of money every day eventually builds wealth. Small effort repeated daily builds extraordinary ability. Most people underestimate this power. Because progress often feels invisible at first. But over time the results become impossible to ignore. The most powerful moment in this story is not when Aarav stood on the winner's platform. It happened much earlier. The morning he decided to try again. Consistency does not require perfection. It only requires presence. Showing up. Trying again. And trusting that small progress will eventually grow. Let's remember the lessons from this story. A boy who struggled in school refused to give up. He built small daily habits. He practiced when nobody was watching. His effort slowly created improvement. And eventually his consistency changed his future. If this story inspired you, start with one small action today. Read one page. Learn one English word. Practice speaking for 5 minutes. Small actions repeated daily can create powerful change. And in the next story, we will explore something equally powerful. Because sometimes the real obstacle to success is not lack of effort. It's the clutter inside our minds. Negative thoughts. Constant distractions. Endless overthinking. In the next video, we'll discover 15 simple habits that can help you clean your mind, sharpen your focus, and bring more peace into your life. And some of these habits might completely change how you think every single day.